Yo, let's talk about our book again. All right, so Invisible Cities. That's what it has to say. And in the way it said it in a specific way, just like the other day when I was saying, nice pitch. Even though the words were understood, the pitcher themselves couldn't help but feel like I was saying something else. After all, I kept saying it over and over and over, but it seemed to be with the specific tone and body language that you would see that made the pitcher feel the words. There was no other interpretation other than my hitting each throw. So I really felt like what this man is saying in here is sort of touching upon an ability. I think that probably the easiest thing to do that satisfies every party, no matter how impractical or practical they are, is simply something that can change your attitude. It's like the greatest trick, being able to, in a way, say that things don't affect you. And I think it's something that has to be acknowledged by every party that it's possible. Somehow it's so simple. Just being above it. Being somewhere else. Thinking something else. And it's in this triumph of being able to control our mind where I think we can find power. And as soon as we find that power, we find what we are, our true selves, and some sort of unchanging nature to all things. So, kind of going along that line of thinking, I was sort of like thinking that this guy is like playing a game, you know? It's like being with somebody, one of your close friends, and each of you playing off of the other's words, but you're both making stuff up. I don't know if any of you have had that experience, but when I'm with my brothers, it's like we can say like, oh yeah, and it's like we're thinking the exact same thing as our brother is. Or I'm thinking the exact same thing that my brother is. Something that my brothers and I used to do all the time, and sometimes even today we still do it. Like, it's like we can play off what isn't real. And we know how to do it. And I think that it's like a very sort of telling skill, because it tells you that you can say these things even in a world that is real. Like, there are things that you can get away with. And it again is like that idea of this idea as to where somebody who is fantastical in all the representations of all things and believes in the world being something which is not solid and therefore permits things that are making no sense into their world, have a very similar acceptance to things as much as somebody who only believes in what is provable beyond any doubt and socially accepted by what is considered to be the most correct populace or mass. And again, that sort of translates just back to the idea of being able to change your attitude, to change your mind. Sometimes you can say what you want to say, and maybe it's all in the tone. Maybe you can't say it any other way unless you say it exactly the way that you're supposed to say it. Pitch, tone, frequency, rhythm, pacing. Otherwise, what else have you said? Maybe there's the idea of perfection. It's like looking at another language and thinking, how can each person replicate that exact form for this to be something that is communicable? It's like, it seems unreasonable for everybody to have this idea of managing something which has that much variation unless it's completely mechanized for people to be able to communicate in such a way. But maybe that's just the idea of perfect. Maybe all we're dealing with when we deal with faraway places is this idea of a straight line that just doesn't bend or wind. It just goes on forever. And when we say something perfect, we again are reassociated back to that original place that I opened up this book with you here today. And that was that you found yourself. That there is power. And just by the simple act of somebody saying that there is power, or by the simple act of somebody saying that there is a process which takes place, I think that honestly, you don't need much more than having or being able to say that a process takes place to say that almost there is this idea that things can change. And what is the most basic form of change that everybody has to deal with in their lives? Death. And what is death but something that is unreasonable? But then life itself seems unreasonable at times. But maybe if we can find that perfect line, then something that seems unreasonable can totally speak to you.